So basically I'm just here with Michael Wood, and we just released your climate change policy today, and Michael's just been talking about the government EV policy, well, the Labour policy on sort of what they do in government with EVs specifically. So I thought I'd ask a few follow-up questions from my time with Megan Woods last week. Just tell me, you talked about how you're going to do a sort of basically EV first policy where, every purchase you're going to try and have, it be EV unless there's sort of other considerations that keep us from that. What else is Labour going to do EV-wise?
Yeah, well, just to go into that in a bit more detail, that really is the key policy, because we think that we as government can take a leadership role here. Yep. So we've said that by 2025 we want to have the majority of the public fleet as EVs, yep. And so every purchase will be an EV unless there's a really, really good reason not to. Probably the other key things are that we just want to sit down and collaboratively work with the sector on what the barriers actually are at the moment. We kind of feel like at the moment there are some targets that are floating around out there. There are a few small policy initiatives like the road user charge exemptions, but it's all pretty small beer stuff. Yeah. And what we actually hear is that it's actually kind of big grunty infrastructure and network stuff that's probably going to make the biggest difference. So our approach...
you're thinking about I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about investing in sort of charging infrastructure, and you said the other barrier to people buying an EV was the purchase price.
Yeah.
So is there any sort of specifics there?
Yeah, there's not a specific there. Okay. So with the charging network, we think that is a key one. And of course it's sort of slowly getting out of the blocks. It kind of feels to me like in the whole EV space we're at one of those really interesting tension points where everyone knows it's coming in a big way, but we're not quite sure how quickly it's going to get there or how we're going to get there.
It sort of feels a bit like the Wild West at the moment, where we're sort of on that middle of the frontier and the railway line's going out there.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that we're going to rush out there soon, but we're just waiting for gold to be found.
Yeah, and so we've got a little bit of hesitation just to sort of about saying, well, hey, we're the smart guys in politics. We're going to strum up a policy and election campaign and tell you that's how it's going to work.
Yep.
We think the best thing we can do in government is to have a very collaborative approach with the sector, because the sector are the people who know how it works, who know what the needs are, who know what the pratfalls are going to be. So that would what we would do in that space is to sit down and look at the sort of investment and policy incentives and signals that we need to send in that space.
So just before your talk, we had some amazing people from the Wellington District Council and from Christchurch District Council and Auckland Transport talking about what they're doing in their space as local government. And one sort of key theme is it seems like the local governments are actually pushing forward the EV adoption rates greater than what the current national government policy is. Do you think that do you want Labour's sort of EV policy to be overshadowed by what local council is, or do you want to join them in pushing that?
We want to join them and push this forward as quickly as we can. We've got this really unique opportunity in New Zealand, which is that we have an energy sector which is mainly made up of renewables, 80 to 90%, and Labour's going to push that higher. Yep. If you're in the United States and you're running an EV, it's actually 40% coal-fueled. Right. Here it actually means something in terms of our emissions, so we should be as ambitious as we possibly can in this area. So we want to get on board with local government, who often are a bit more innovative, actually, because they're a bit more smaller, a bit more nimble. Work with them, work with the sector, and drive it forward as quickly as we can.
Is Labour open to adopting policies that have worked in other countries that have got great EV adoption rates, such as Norway and other European countries? Yeah,
look, we're open. One of the touchstones for a new Labour government is that we're going to be evidence-based. Yeah. So we're actually going to look at what works. We're not going to sort of be hidebound and stick to a position because we said it, 6 months ago, and we've got to stick with that right the way through. What is going to work to drive this forward? Right. And if there are good international examples, we're keen to have a look at those. Cool. And obviously the Northern Hemisphere, particularly Europe, is really where the action is at with EVs in terms of high levels of adoption.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a very fresh approach. So thank you very much.
That's the old slogan.
That's the old slogan.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it. All right, let's do this.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.